Hello, and welcome to the ArcServe Unified Data Protection video series. In this video, I'll show you how to perform a bare metal recovery using a backup for Windows for ArcServe UDP agent for Windows. Bare metal recovery, or BMR, is the process of restoring a computer system from bare metal, including reinstalling the operating system and software applications, and then restoring the data and settings. The BMR process lets you restore a full computer with minimal effort, even to different hardware. In order to perform a BMR, you must have created a BMR ISO image and burned it onto a CD, DVD, or a portable USB stick. And you must have at least one full backup available. To start, first boot the machine on which you want to perform the BMR using any of the required bootable media. Here, we'll select CD-ROM drive. Then press any key to boot from the CD or DVD. From the Windows Boot Manager screen, choose whether to restore in an x86 or x64 environment, and press Enter. The BMR process begins. Select your preferred language and keyboard layout, and then click Next. The BMR process continues. And the BMR wizard screen is displayed. Select the type of BMR you want to perform. Restore from an ArcServe Unified Data Protection backup. This option lets you perform a restore from either a backup destination folder or a data store. It also lets you recover data that was backed up using ArcServe UDP agent for Windows, and this is used in connection with backup sessions performed with ArcServe UDP agent for Windows or with the ArcServe UDP host-based VM backup application. Recover from a virtual standby VM. This option lets you perform a virtual to physical and a virtual to virtual restore from a virtual standby VM. In this video, we'll talk about the restore from an ArcServe Unified Data Protection backup option. So let's select this one. But before we click Next, let's set the network configuration to allow communication to Recovery Point Server. Click the Utilities menu in the bottom left corner, and the available options are Load Driver Utility, which is a utility that's similar to the Windows Device Manager, and can be used to verify which devices have been detected and if the device drivers have been properly installed. This utility also provides the option to inject or install the device drivers. Network configuration. This can be used to view the current network configuration and make appropriate changes. Activity log. This is used to view the BMR activity log. Or run. This can be used to launch an application or run a command. Select Network Configuration. In the Network Configuration dialog, select a network adapter to configure, and you can obtain an IP address automatically or enter one manually, and obtain a DNS server address automatically or specify manually. This allows communication to a remote recovery point or RPS server. Then click OK. Here we select the Recover from an ArcServe Unified Data Protection backup. Then click Next. The Select a Recovery Point wizard screen is displayed, and a scan is automatically performed on all the directly attached storage devices to see if they can contain any recovery points. If recovery points are found, then they are automatically populated in the BMR console. In this case, no locally attached recovery points are detected. Therefore, when the scan completes, click Browse and select either Browse from Network Local Path, which lets you recover from any local drive or network share. This option will also list the machines or volumes that contains recovery points for your backup image to select from. Or you can select Browse from Recovery Point Server, which connects you to the server to retrieve the data store and agent list where the recovery points for your backup are stored. In this video, we'll select Browse from Recovery Point Server. And the Select Agent dialog opens. Provide the Recovery Point Server hostname, username, password, port, and protocol. Then click Connect, and the data stores on the RPS server are displayed. Select the data store and browse to the hostname of the server being recovered, and click OK. The BMR wizard opens and displays the machine name, related backup information, and all the corresponding recovery points. Select the recovery point to restore. If the recovery point is located on the RPS server or is encrypted, which displays a lock icon, a password required screen appears. Enter the session password and click OK. The BMR Wizard screen opens with the available recovery mode options. Express mode, which recovers the system automatically and has minimal interaction during the recovery process. And Advanced mode, which lets you customize the restore process. The default here is Express. In this video, I'll describe both, but first we'll start with Express and click Next. Initializing disk partitions begins. The Summary of Restore Settings screen opens, displaying a summary of the volumes that are going to be restored. Now, when we recover in Advanced mode, the BMR utility starts locating the machine that's going to be recovered and displays the corresponding disk partition information. The upper pane shows the disk configuration that you have on the current or target machine, and the lower pane shows the disk partition information that you had on the original source machine. Some details to consider while in the disk partition screen. When you see a red X icon displaying for a source volume in the lower pane, it indicates that this volume contains system information and has not been assigned or mapped to the target volume. If it's not assigned to the target disk and restored during BMR, the reboot will fail. If the boot volume is not assigned, the BMR process will not continue knowing the recovery system will not boot. One of the reasons that can make this happen is having an unformatted partition on the target system. To format this partition, select the unformatted partition, click the Operations drop-down menu to display the available options, and click Create Primary Partition to create the volume to correspond with the original source volume. The Create Volume Wizard dialog opens. Select the original source volume to assign or map the destination volume to from the drop-down. As a side note, when mapping to another volume, the capacity of the new volume must be the same size or larger than the original source volume. Then specify the simple volume size. Here I'll enter 51,200 to have the maximum size of the disk space. Now click Finish. The partition is now formatted and mapped to the original source volume. As you see, the red X is now gone. Now click Next. The Submit Disk Changes screen opens, displaying a summary of the selected operations. For each new volume being created, the corresponding information is displayed. When you have verified the summary information is correct, click Submit. If the information is not correct, click Cancel. All operations to the hard drive do not take effect until they are submitted. When the changes are completed, click OK. And we're back to the Summary of Restore Settings screen, like we did when recovering in Express mode. This screen displays a summary of the volumes that are going to be restored. On the bottom of the Restore Summary window, the drive letters listed in the Destination Volume column are automatically generated from the Windows Pre-installation Environment, or WinPE. They can be different from the drive letters listed in the Source Volume column. However, the data is still restored to the proper volume, even if the drive letters are different. After you verify that the summary information is correct, then click OK. The restore process starts. The BMR Wizard screen displays the restore status for each volume. Depending upon the size of the volume being restored, this operation can take some time. During this process, you are restoring, block by block, whatever you had backed up for that recovery point and creating a replica of the source machine on the target machine. By default, the option to reboot your system automatically after recovery is selected. If necessary, you can clear this option and you can reboot manually at a later time. You can also select Do Not Start Agent Service automatically after reboot, or you can cancel or abort the operation at any time. As the recovery process continues, the status for each volume restored is changed to Complete, and the Next button is activated. At this point, a check is performed to see if all the critical hardware devices from the current machine have matching device drivers in the restored Windows operating system image. After the check is completed, the new hardware device drivers are injected into the restored Windows operating system image. If prompted for any additional device drivers, point to the path which contains the additional device driver and verify that the version of the device driver is compatible with the operating system from the original machine we are restoring. After the device drivers are injected, the Prepare to Reboot screen is displayed. You can wait for the system to automatically reboot itself or manually reboot it by clicking the Reboot button. To collect the logs required for troubleshooting, launch the Activity Log utility. It's recommended that you save these logs before rebooting the machine. And just as a note, after completion of the BMR, the first backup that's performed will be a verified backup. That's it. This concludes our video. Thanks for watching. For more information on the features and benefits of this application, please read the documentation or visit the ArcServe Unified Data Protection Knowledge Center.